Good morning. Today I will be discussing a scientific report carried out in Africa. Contact with domestic dogs increases pathogen exposure in endangered African wild dogs. This report summarises a study carried out from 2001 to 2009, which was intended to find the rate of pathogen exposure in endangered African wild dogs by testing and analysing the blood samples of both African wild dogs and domestic dogs. The blood samples were tested and retrieved from 90 wild dogs in 19 packs and 184 domestic dogs, which had absolutely no evidence of ever being vaccinated against any pathogen. The dogs were contained from two main land types: privately owned commercial ranches and community lands. They were sorted from these two land types because both domestic dogs and wild dogs live in both these areas. Once the wild dogs were immobilised, collected from the jugular vein, and the same process was then repeated for domestic dogs. However, the domestic dogs were not restrained and the blood was drawn from the cephalic vein. Blood samples were stored and each was tested for a variety of different pathogens and viruses. Different techniques were used when sampling the blood, from the rapid fluorescent focus intubation test for the test of rabies virus, to the serum neutralisation test, to the test of the canine distemper virus. The results show strong evidence to support the claim that domestic dogs were the cause of the decreasing number of African wild dogs, even though antibodies against canine pathogens were found in both dogs. Wild dogs that came in contact with domestic dogs were at greater risk of catching the canine parvovirus, which 25% were infected with, the rabies virus, which 15% were infected with, the canine distemper virus, which 16% had been infected, and 4 other pathogens with diverse transmission mechanisms. Although these results aren't high, it will only take one wild dog to be infected and to infect their entire pack. These viruses and pathogens are transmitted through infected feces, tick vectors, infected prey, as well as being transferred from mother to pup through the placenta, meaning the smaller size of the wild dog pack, the more vulnerable they were to being infected. It appeared that although pathogens were found in the blood samples of wild dogs, if the dog appeared to be healthier, it was less likely that they would die from the pathogens and viruses they were infected with. This, however, was not the case for the domestic dogs, as their numbers rapidly decreased once they were infected. The analysis of blood samples were taken from both wild African dogs and domestic dogs in this specific report conclude that domestic dogs were the sole cause of transmitting canine pathogens to packs of wild dogs, thus resulting in the slow extinction and diminishing numbers of African wild dogs. Thank you.